The young man was thrown into the fast travel world because of suicide. His soul will enter the bodies of 12 people on the verge of death, experiencing death over and over again. If he wants to live a good life, he must help the hosts avoid their death dates. This is the latest Korean drama, Death's Game. 7 years ago, the male lead Choi Ye-jae had just entered society. Not only did he have a beautiful girlfriend Jisoo, but he also successfully entered the final interview of a large corporation. His future looked bright. Little did he know, he had a car accident on his way to the interview. A living person died right in front of him. Ye-jae's condition was severely affected. He was not admitted to his ideal position. The following 7 years were full of misfortune. Ye-jae failed in finding jobs and was burdened with a high student loan. Then, the COVID-19 pandemic hit the world. He had to keep doing part-time jobs just to earn money, while others accumulated work experience. He couldn't even secure a contract job, as he watched his peers marry and settle down. Only Ye-jae remained stagnant while others moved forward. He sent out hundreds of resumes. Finally, he managed to get another final interview with Taikang Group. The interviewer was contemptuous of his resume, but there was one senior executive with long hair. He believed Ye-jae was hard in work and had perseverance. Ye-jae received a call from a friend just a few minutes after he was happy. It turned out that his friend had persuaded him to invest, but that person was involved in a stock manipulation scam. The money that Ye-jae had invested was taken away, and the person responsible fled. Although he promptly reported the case to the police, the hope of recovering the money was slim. All of Ye-jae's savings were invested. Now he is left with nothing. How embarrassed to propose to Jisoo. Ye-jae wanted to visit his girlfriend, but he saw her getting out of a man's car. She was holding a large bouquet of flowers. She looked very happy. Jisoo noticed Ye-jae on the street. She handed him an envelope, urging him to quit his part-time job and focus on job interviews. Ye-jae's self-esteem was shattered. He felt exhausted both mentally and physically. He felt unworthy of Jisoo, who came from a privileged background. He decided to break up. Ye-jae returned the rental room in pouring rain, only to find his belongings had been thrown out. The landlord had left a note at the door, stating that new tenants would arrive in 2 days. The deposit would be used to cover the overdue rent. The heavy rain soaked Ye-jae's computer, and extinguished his will to keep going. The next morning, Taikang sent another message of failed interview. Ye-jae didn't know the meaning of living. Death seemed simple. He ultimately put an end to his failed life. But something strange happened. Ye-jae woke up in an unfamiliar body, followed by the appearance of a mysterious woman. She took off her sunglasses and stared at Ye-jae. In the next second, the environment around the two of them suddenly changed. Ye-jae was pulled into the underworld. It turned out that the woman was the embodiment of death. Let's call her the Death. The Death was angered by Ye-jae's casual attitude towards death. She planned to teach this guy a lesson. She brought Ye-jae to the edge of a cliff, only to see towering cliffs made of bones. The raging sea of blood was filled with dead bodies.
날 모욕한 너는 벌을 받게 될 거야.
The bones sensed the scent of human body and rushed towards Ye-jae eagerly, until they swallowed him up. In the next second, Ye-jae woke up in a new body. He asked the Death how he should be punished.
영혼은 곧 죽을 12명의 육체로 들어가게 돼. 그리고 어떤 몸으로 깨어나든 무조건 죽게 된다.
If Ye-jae could save others from death with the body, he could live the rest of his life in that body. After the Death finished speaking, she left the plane. Immediately, the entire cabin shook violently. Ye-jae thought he was about to die and quickly put on a life jacket, but it turned out to be normal turbulence. He looked around the cabin and suddenly realized it was a private plane, and it was filled with luxury goods everywhere. Suddenly, a crystal appeared in the air. Inside it were the memories and abilities of the original owner. The owner of this body was named Park Jin-tae. He was the second son of the chairman of Taikang Group. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. The long-haired interviewer who appeared earlier was Jin-tae's older brother. The two brothers had always been in competition since childhood. Fortunately, Jin-tae was smarter than his brother and was more favored by their father. Taikang Group would eventually belong to him. These memories belonged to the original owner. A flurry of information flooded into Ye-jae's mind. He sighed, realizing that he was really lucky. Now he was going to rise from the ashes like a phoenix. Just as he finished speaking, the left engine of the plane caught fire. Ye-jae hurriedly ran back to his seat and fastened his seatbelt. In the next second, a hole opened up in the cabin. The unlucky flight attendant died. As the saying goes, you can hardly stay longer when the god is calling on you. Yi Jae's soul returned to the underworld. The death's cold voice echoed. You have 11 chances left. After saying that, she loaded 11 bullets into the gun. As long as she fired a shot at Yi Jae, everything would start anew. Yi Jae was curious about what would happen if he ran out of chances, and still couldn't survive. What would he do? The death chuckled. What else can you do but go to hell? The death showed some kindness, and prepared to give Yi Jae a tour of hell. Yi Jae was completely dumbfounded by this. The death explained that it was inevitable. Suicides can only go to hell after death. If you can resurrect through the remaining chances, and live an honest and kind life, of course, you won't be thrown into hell. Yi Jae quickly regained consciousness from a new body. This time, he was an extreme sports enthusiast. The memory crystal drilled into Yi Jae's mind, and the information about the original owner appeared. Name, Song Jae-sub. Age, 38. He holds for Guinness World Records. He loves all kinds of dangerous extreme sports. Today he is going to challenge base jumping without a parachute. He will jump from 8,000 feet in the air and land accurately in a preset safety net. If he succeeds in this challenge, Jae-sub can take away 3 billion Korean won in cash from sponsors. Because the crystal carries the original owner's abilities, Yi Jae quickly adapts to the high-altitude environment. He adjusts his balance and looks for the landing point, then dives down like an arrow departing from the string. Obviously, this daredevil did not succeed, but the TV ratings surged to 30%. In the end, the winner is still the evil capitalist. As expected, Yi Jae wakes up in the underworld again. He complains to the death in dissatisfaction. These two deaths are either a plane crash or waking up in midair. The difficulty is too high. The death reminds Yi Jae that these 12 resurrections are not opportunities but punishments for experiencing death. Yi Jae can't understand. He didn't harm anyone with his suicide. Is it necessary to accept such a severe punishment? A car accident occurs on the road. The victim's belongings are scattered on the ground. Next to the wallet is a photo of Yi Jae. Based on the incoming call on the phone during his suicide, it is likely that this woman is Yi Jae's mother. Yi Jae still insists on the innocence of suicide. The death decides to shoot him in the head, helping Yi Jae start his third rebirth. Unexpectedly, this time he came to a school campus. The male classmates in the class are watching Jae-sub's skydiving video. Even though the man died, he still laughs so happily. Yi Jae plans to teach this guy a lesson. Unexpectedly, the memory crystal suddenly appears. The original owner's name is Kwon Hyuk-soo. Now he is only 17 years old. His father passed away when he was 5 years old. His mother supported the family alone. She works hard day and night. Hyuk-soo knows that he should study hard to repay his mother's nurturing grace. But he is very afraid of going to school, because his classmates in the class have been bullying him. Jin Sang, who was watching the skydiving video just now, is the leader of the bullying group. Hyuk-soo doesn't want to make his mother worried, so he can only grit his teeth and pretend to be indifferent. But the hellish school life even makes him feel mentally disturbed. Seeing the bullies is like seeing demons. Hyuk-soo doesn't want to continue this kind of life. He warns Jin Sang, "If you bully me again, I will jump from the rooftop of the school." Jin Sang takes Hyuk-soo's words as a joke. He hardly realizes that Hyuk-soo is really standing on the rooftop, and at the moment of near death, Yi Jae possesses him. Yi Jae suddenly realizes that if Hyuk-soo's death is due to suicide, then living well would be a solution. This mission is too easy. Yi Jae is just enjoying himself foolishly. Jin Sang brings his gang to bully Hyuk-soo again. Yi Jae has lived for over 30 years. How could he be bullied by high school students? He picks up a chair and smashes it towards Jin Sang, taking the opportunity to vent his anger on these bastards. Unfortunately, his triumph lasts only 3 seconds. The toughest guy among Jin Sang's group appears. Monk overwhelms Yi Jae without any resistance. Jin Sang also steps forward to show off and save face. As soon as the class ends, Jin Sang drags Yi Jae to the gymnasium and brutally beats him. Monk can't bear to see it and tries to intervene, but he receives a slap from Jin Sang instead. Yi Jae looks confused and bewildered. Why is Monk so afraid of him though he's so tough? It seems that Jin Sang is going to continue bully. Fortunately, the class bell appears in time. Jin Sang's attitude changes dramatically in front of the goddess. He hurriedly follows her like a lapdog. Yi Jae also escapes unscathed because of this. He returns home with a dejected and downcast expression. The house is decorated simply but warmly. The refrigerator is covered with Hyuksu's mother's nagging notes. Between the lines is love for son. Yi Jae can't help reminding of his own mother. He was also raised by a single mother. Just as Yi Jae is feeling sad, Hyuksu's mother returns. She prepares a table full of dishes, and she takes care of her son in every detail. Through Hyuksu's mother, Yi Jae sees his own mother. How could his death not have hurt others? Yi Jae wants to call his mother, but suddenly, a blackmail message from Jin Sang pops up. It brings Yi Jae back to reality in an instant. He needs to survive first before thinking about anything else. Yi Jae decides to draw Monk over to his side first, to undermine Jin Sang. Yi Jae starts praising him, asking why Monk doesn't overthrow Jin Sang and become the leader. Even though Monk is tough, he's still a high school student. Indeed, he couldn't help but reveal the hidden truth. Actually, Jin Sang has a powerful backer. That person is a senior from the 3rd grade, Sung Sub. He's considered the best fighter in this area. Jin Sang can only act arrogantly and tyrannically because of the person he's associating with. Upon hearing this, Yi Jae feels disheartened. Whether it's in society or at school, background and factional issues are always unavoidable. But when all is said and done, eating is the most important. Yi Jae is just praising the good school food, but he is forcibly pushed into the bowl by Jin Sang. He can't tolerate it. He decisively pours noodles over Jin Sang's head, then quickly slips away. Jin Sang loses face in front of the entire schoolmate. He immediately sends Monk to catch Yi Jae, but Monk also makes him embarrass in public. It turns out that Yi Jae privately approached Monk, and told him that he had a way to overthrow Jin Sang. However, Monk couldn't intervene. Jin Sang had already gone to complain to his elder brother. Upon hearing this, Sung Sub immediately brings people to get even with Hyuksu. Monk sees Hyuksu still engrossed in reading webtoon. Although he doesn't know Yi Jae's plan, Sung Sub has already entered the classroom. He walks straight towards Monk, asking if he's the one who threw noodles at Jin Sang. Monk quickly explains that he didn't do anything. Jin Sang also pointed at Hyuksu. Sung Sub looked at him with disdain. Even his followers felt embarrassed. We came all the way to the lower grades. We are not going to teach a little dwarf like this a lesson. Typically, troublemaking students have a certain reputation. They enjoy beating up guys like Monk, but they wouldn't touch Hyuksu. Yi Jae steps forward to provoke Jin Sang, saying, "If you have any problems, come directly to me. Besides, you don't have any reinforcements." Monk takes over Jin Sang's position and becomes the leader. As the saying goes, it's difficult to go from luxury to frugality. Jin Sang becomes our underdog, hated by everyone. The goddess is also taken away by Sung Sub. He can't accept this loss. He blames all the faults on Yi Jae. Since he can't win face to face, Jin Sang resorts to sneaky ambushes against Yi Jae. He goes crazy and hits him with a brick. Yi Jae underestimated the evil of human nature. Once again, the mission fails. The death watches with relish.
기대해. 앞으로 죽음의 고통이 더 커질 테니까.
After a gunshot, the 4th life begins. As soon as Yi Jae opens his eyes, he realizes his hands and feet are tied, and there's a black bag over his head. Some strong gangster come over and hold him down, pouring water onto the black cloth covering his mouth and nose. Yi Jae is choked and coughs incessantly. A man in suit opens his mouth calmly and asks where the woman and the money are. Yi Jae naturally doesn't know anything, and one gangster rushes forward, intending to gouge out his eyes. Yi Jae hurriedly says, "I'll confess everything, but you have to give me some time to think." The man in suit realizes Yi Jae is playing a trick on him, so he picks up a hammer and ready to hit on Yi Jae's head. The memory crystal finally appears in a crucial juncture, revealing the original owner, Lee Ju-hoon, 35 years old and known as the Jack of all trades. He belongs to the largest secret organization in the criminal syndicate. Joo-hoon's job is to solve any problem for clients, including killing, which is just routine for him. Joo-hoon falls in love with the boss's lover, Ah-mei, and he is unable to bear seeing her abused. He steals 10 billion Korean won hidden by the boss. He plans to escape with Ah-mei, but before he can meet up with his lover, he is caught by the boss's gangsters. The flashback ends here. Yi-jae inherits Joo-hoon's skills through the crystal, swiftly eliminating the boss's gangsters in no time. This original owner truly led a life like in a movie, but these gangsters are easy to kill. Yi-jae wants to recover the 10 billion Korean won and use the money to launder his identity and start anew. With his determination set, he enters the code at the door. In a result, he found himself on a large truck. With Joo-hoon's exceptional skills, Yi-jae believes that this time he will definitely turn the tide. Meanwhile, the man in suit gets up and complains to the boss. The boss has connections in both legal and illegal circles. Soon, they found Joo-hoon's location through the police. Various forces sets out for action, aiming to kill Joo-hoon tonight. Yi-jae rides a motorcycle at high speed, skillfully evading the pursuer's gunfire. A high-speed chase takes place in the Night of Seoul. The man in suit also follows in a truck. He makes a sharp turn, wedging the truck on the road. Yi-jae immediately slows down upon seeing this. The pursuers react too slowly and crash into the front. Yi-jae runs away like a lightning bolt cuts through the night sky. The boss offers a reward of 2 billion Korean won for his head. Therefore, the gangsters chase him relentlessly. Yi-jae directly drives the motorcycle into a shopping mall. He gets surrounded by a convoy of vehicles. He simply accelerates and rushes into an elevator. He escapes to the rooftop without a break. Unexpectedly, the boss and his men rush towards him. Anyway, it's a life-or-death situation. Yi-jae decisively rides the motorcycle towards the railing. Perhaps it wasn't his destiny to die. Yi-jae unexpectedly falls into the swimming pool. Moreover, after the phone soaks in water, the tracking signal is lost as well. Yi-jae gives a confident smile to the boss. Quickly, following the original host's memories, Yi-jae searches for Ah-mei. The woman immediately throws herself into Joo-hoon's arms upon seeing the situation. Yi-jae feels his heart racing. It turns out that Joo-hoon genuinely loves this woman. Ah-mei asks weakly where he hid the money. Yi-jae points to the illuminated boat ahead and says the money is there. However, the next moment, Ah-mei shoots him in the head. Yi-jae returns to the underworld once again. The death mocks him for being a fool. Little did she know that Yi-jae had another plan. In fact, the original host didn't hide the money on the boat. Yi-jae lied to Ah-mei. He initially intended to get rid of the woman and retrieve the money alone. Unexpectedly, she killed him for the money. Now, only Yi-jae knows the location of the cash. He can definitely retrieve the money after resurrecting. But despite Yi-jae's calculations, he didn't anticipate being reborn in prison this time. He is even locked in solitary confinement. Now, how can he retrieve the 10 billion won? Fortunately, his solitary confinement period has just ended. And from his cellmate, Xiao Bai, he learns that the original host will be released in 4 days. Xiao Bai will also be released in 4 days. He reminds Yi-jae to control his temper and not provoke the psychopathic murderer again. Just as he says that, the murderer mentioned by Xiao Bai appears. Yi-jae takes a look and realizes it's Jin Sang. Great, this is God's favor. He wants to take revenge on Hyuksa with his own hands. Yi-jae immediately starts beating up Jin Sang. The cellmate quickly pulls him away and separates them. At that moment, the memory crystal appears. The original host's name is Cho Tai-sang. Due to poor family conditions, he had to give up his passion for martial arts. His mother is constantly harassed by debt collectors. Tai-sang took the blame for a hit-and-run incident on behalf of a wealthy second-generation individual. To alleviate the burden on his family, he was still a minor when he entered prison, so he was able to receive probation instead of imprisonment. Unexpectedly, the woman who was hit died during the trial, and Tai-sang was sentenced to 2 years of imprisonment with a conviction for manslaughter. Tai-sang couldn't bear this injustice. He instructed his lawyer to inform the person responsible for the accident that if they couldn't offer 1 billion Korean won, he would appeal again after his release. Tai-sang had trained in martial arts for a few years, so he lived well in prison, until Jin Sang suddenly appeared. The level of the murderer in the homicide case was different. His cellmates in the same room avoided him cautiously, but Yi-jae is not like Tai-sang. He knows that Jin Sang is just a coward. So, he asked his cellmate to guard the window, and went up to give Jin Sang a few slaps. Jin Sang didn't have any real fighting skills. He was just bluffing under the guise of being a murderer. Before Yi Jae-jin could seriously engage, Jin Sang was already crying and begging for mercy. Who knew that Yi Jae suddenly mentioned Hyuksu, even in front of the cellmates, exposing Jin Sang's true identity, saying that he killed the bullied classmate, and pretending to be someone he's not. The cellmates had been suffering from Jin Sang's bullying for a while, but as soon as they heard that he wasn't a murderer, they immediately swarmed and beat up Jin Sang, and this was just the beginning. The criminals treated Jin Sang as their punching bag. Yi Jae didn't join the bullying gang, and didn't bother getting involved. He just wanted to get out of prison as soon as possible, but unexpected events happened quickly. The real culprit was afraid that Yi Jae would extort him after his release, so he used his social relationship to have someone kill Yi Jae in prison. Fortunately, Yi Jae had Tai Sang's combat skills, so he didn't end up being killed by a few cellmates. Yi Jae enjoyed using this body. The more he fights, the more he likes this body. Not only was he skilled, but he was also young. Soon, he defeated all the criminals present. At this moment, Xiao Bai came back with a stick to help, but Yi Jae had already resolved the problem. The day of his release was getting closer and closer. Xiao Bai asked him if he regretted doing something wrong. Yi Jae knew that it was referring to Tai Sang, but his mind went to the suicide incident. He had to admit that he regretted it. Living itself is an opportunity. There are 2 days left until his release, and Jin Sang plans to use the same tricks again, wanting to secretly kill Yi Jae. But Yi Jae has already suffered once. He never forgets to be wary of Jin Sang even when he sleeps. If it weren't for the fact that he still had to find that 10 billion, he really wanted to kill Jin Sang directly. Yi Jae had a clever idea. He thought of a way to torment him. Yi Jae pretended to be mysterious, claiming to be able to see Hyuksu's ghost, and he knew the details of their high school days, so he exaggerated the past events. Jin Sang was directly scared and urinary incontinence. Yi Jae vented his anger, and left prison with a wonderful mood. Unexpectedly, the culprit's lawyer was waiting at the gate. He had to deal with this hidden danger, so Yi Jae didn't ask for the 1 billion Korean won, and he promised to keep the secret buried. But in this world, who would spend 2 years in prison for a stranger without a reason? Will the culprit really let it go so easily? Yi Jae couldn't be bothered with these questions. He went to the dock where the money was hidden, dug out the 10 billion from the dilapidated house across the river. Yi Jae planned to flee with the money, but as a former convict, he couldn't easily deposit the money, and it would be difficult to move around with so much cash. Yi Jae couldn't decide for a moment, and at that moment, Tai Sang's mother called. Yi Jae wanted to ignore it at first, but in the end, he answered the call. Tai Sang's mother apologized to her son, asking him to come home quickly. Yi Jae couldn't help reminding of his own mother, and burst into tears on the spot. Since he wants to borrow the body of someone else, he can't let Tai Sang's mother sacrifice in vain. Yi Jae withdrew enough cash, prepared to give it to Tai Sang's mother when he returned, and then stored the remaining money in a temporary storage locker, preparing to leave with the money in 4 days. Unexpectedly, as soon as Yi Jae returned to the alley near Tai Sang's home, he was stabbed by an uncle, who turned out to be a relative of the deceased in the car accident, wanting to kill the culprit for his daughter's revenge. Yi Jae immediately apologized, and explained to the uncle that he was not the culprit. Just as they were talking, the sound of a dog barking came from nearby. The uncle was afraid of being discovered and quickly left. Unexpectedly, the person who came was Xiao Bai. Yi Jae just breathed a sigh of relief, but Xiao Bai's expression suddenly turned cold. It turned out that on that day, when he came back with a stick, it wasn't to help Yi Jae, but to kill him and collect the bounty. Once again, Yi Jae's life was ruined because of money. At this moment, Tai Sang's mother called, but Yi Jae didn't have a chance to answer. He woke up from the underworld, feeling heartbroken and unbearable, but the storage locker had a 4-day deadline. Yi Jae hurriedly entered the next life, but the death played a joke on him. In this lifetime, Yi Jae is a little baby, and he has a mother with bipolar disorder, and an irresponsible father. The couple fed the baby expired canned food, and smoked indoors casually. After the police received a report from the children's hospital, they came to verify if the couple was abusing the child, but the master of the house, Jin, works at a welfare institution, and he and his wife, Xiao Mai, are good at acting well. The police didn't think they seemed like bad people, so they didn't check the baby's condition. Yi Jae tried to cry loudly to attract attention, but the police still left. Xiao Mai was furious and had nowhere to vent her anger, so she picked up the child and threw him to the ground. She blamed her son for the hardships in her life, and covered Yi-Jae's face with a pillow. This time, the hazy reincarnation ended abruptly. Yi-Jae's eye was extremely angry, and shouted how there could be such parents in the world. The death couldn't help but taunt Yi-Jae, saying that he took parental love for granted. After the death finished speaking, he sent Yi-Jae on his way. When Jin woke up and checked the time, he realized that the storage locker would expire in 15 minutes. He rushed to the subway station at full speed, and ran to the temporary storage locker in one breath, successfully retrieving the bag. Yi-Jae was about to leave. He caught a glimpse of himself in the mirror. This time, he was unexpectedly reincarnated into a handsome guy. Soon after, the memory crystal appeared, and he learned that the original owner's name was Jang Gun-woo, 24 years old, and he was a very famous fashion model. From his student days, he was highly popular due to his exceptional appearance. As he grew up, it was natural for him to rely on his look to make a career. In simple terms, he had wealth, look, and fame. Yi-Jae returned to the original owner's residence. He saw a newspaper on the table. The parents who abused their child had already been arrested. He finally felt somewhat relieved. Just then, the original owner's phone rang. His friend invited Gun-woo to go to a bar and attended a party. Upon hearing this, Yi-Jae gladly went there. Instead of worrying about how to die all day, he decided to enjoy himself to the fullest. Gun-woo's body couldn't handle alcohol. Yi-Jae felt dizzy and disoriented after a few drinks. His friend came over and advised him to have some food. The host of the party was the CEO of Taikang Corporation. If he could gain his appreciation, there would be benefits to reap. Isn't Taikang Corporation the company of the first original owner, Jin Tai? However, he died in a plane crash, and his brother Tai Woo inherited the company. Yi-Jae felt like he was familiar, but couldn't recall immediately. The next day, while still hungover, he was pulled up by a man. It turned out that the original owner had promised his friend to take care of his cafe while he traveled to the United States, and help manage his coffee shop. Yi-Jae went to the store with his friend to familiar with the surroundings, thinking secretly that once his friend left, he would take the money and leave this place. Little did he know an unexpected person appeared. It was Jisoo, whom he hadn't seen in a long time. Yi-Jae looked at his former lover, and was instantly pulled into past memories. When he picked up Jisoo's manuscript in school, and plunged into love, now they met again. He still had feelings for Jisoo. His friend noticed Yi-Jae's budding feelings, and mentioned that the girl was in the store every day. It is said she is a famous writer. Yi-Jae searched Jisoo's name online, and found that the day her novel had won an award happened to be the day he broke up with her. It turned out the envelope contained prize money from the competition. The man who sent Jisoo home was actually her older brother. Yi-Jae immediately went to the bookstore to find Jisoo's books. Although the novel was fictional, it drew inspiration from their own love story. Their love story. When Yi-Jae hadn't been crushed by society, he had made a promise to Jisoo that no matter how exceptional his rivals were, he would never let Jisoo go. Unfortunately, Yi-Jae broke his promise later, a few days before their breakup. Yi-Jae also bought a pen as a gift, hoping to tell Jisoo that I will always support your dreams, but unexpectedly, the gift was never given away, and he didn't witness the publication of Jisoo's novel either. The only thing Yi-Jae could do was to keep the coffee shop running, so that Jisoo could continue writing in a familiar surrounding. Yi-Jae even struck up conversations with Jisoo as a fan, and told Jisoo stories about the afterlife, packaging them as his own fictional ideas, and telling them to Jisoo in great detail. The more they talked, the more they got along. Yi-Jae wanted Jisoo to autograph, but Jisoo took out a familiar pen. It was the pen he hadn't given as a gift. It turned out that Yi-Jae's mother had seen the engraved pen after his death, so she passed it on to Jisoo, and Jisoo had been carrying it with her ever since. From that day on, the two became friends. Yi-Jae would tell Jisoo their own stories every day, and after listening, Jisoo raised a question. She asked why the protagonist of the story didn't visit his mother after coming back to life. Yi-Jae expressed in a bitter tone, maybe he didn't have the courage to face his mother. As they continued chatting, it became late. Jisoo said goodbye to Yi-Jae and left. Unexpectedly, it started raining heavily. Yi-Jae held up his umbrella and chased after Jisoo. He handed the umbrella to Jisoo and left in the pouring rain. Not long after Yi-Jae returned to the shop, he heard the sound of police sirens. A few customers who had just entered the shop whispered gossip that the girl involved in the accident visited this coffee shop frequently. Upon hearing this, Yi-Jae had a bad premonition, and rushed towards the car accident. The familiar red umbrella was lying on the roadside. Yi-jae rushed over without any regard, but was stopped by the surrounding police. As he was extremely anxious, he suddenly found Jisoo across the street. Fortunately, it wasn't her who had the accident. Jisoo noticed that Yi-jae's hand was bleeding profusely. Yi-jae had been running so fast that his hand got cut by a cup. Seeing Gun-woo's anxious expression, she couldn't help recalling the day Yi-jae attempted suicide, when she rushed to the hospital in a panic, only to learn about his death. Yi-jae saw the pain on Jisoo's face, and it tore his heart apart. He finally realized the pain he had caused to those around him with his death. Yi-jae followed Jisoo to the crematorium. Unexpectedly, he saw his mother there. So, Yi-jae's mother hadn't died? The previous accident scene must have been a foreshadowing. Yi-jae saw his mother crying in pain, but he didn't have the courage to approach her and offer comfort. In the name of Choi Yi-jae Sr., he sent a sum of money to his family, claiming that it was earned through Yi-jae's investments, and hoped to help his mother live a good life. Yi-jae can see Jisoo every day now. He feels happy all the time. He can't understand why he wanted to seek death in the first place. Clearly, his family and loved ones were always by his side. Yi-jae doesn't want to have any regrets. He doesn't know when this body might encounter an accident. So, he told Jisoo a love story, recalling the little moments of their love. After Jisoo listened to the story, she suddenly realized, the unfamiliar man in front of her is Yi-jae. The male protagonist who died and died again, is not fictional. Just as the two of them were about to recognize each other, a red sports car came. The culprit got out of the car with a lighter. Surprisingly, the person was Tai-woo, the CEO of Taikang Group. Yi-jae suddenly remembered, sponsoring J-Sub to parachute, bribing Tai-sang to take the blame. Tai-woo was the one who paid to have Jin Tai killed by the criminal syndicate. His several reincarnations were closely related. Jisoo had already died on the spot. Tai-woo didn't let go of the dying Gun-woo either. It turns out that it wasn't Yi-jae's mother who died in the car accident, but it was Jisoo, who still deeply loved Yi-jae. This episode's story ends here. The second half will be available online in January. For those interested in this drama, don't forget to click favorite, like, and follow.